evening, folks. This is Deb Delapiana, and this is your chain reaction report. And you might say that we're having a fascist chain reaction right here in the United States. So I'm going to keep on this topic, and I'm going to keep ranting about this topic, and we're going to keep discussing the current composition of the GOP, the status of the far right, the way they are progressing more and more towards violence and a civil war, and the American people who are playing hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, because they'd rather just pretend that it isn't happening. As we approach April, and we are going to start seeing the J6 committee hearings televised, I've been following this very closely. Sarah has been collecting a bunch of information. We have been following events on seditionhunters.com. We've already had our first trial. The perpetrator, participant in J6, was found guilty and will serve jail time. But the January 6th committee, after receiving and going through and poring over literally millions of pages of documents, interviewing more than 300 people, sending out subpoenas. They still have people to take depositions from. They're still chasing some people in the courts who are trying to block emails from being delivered to them and other details. They see their biggest challenge is getting the American people to care. Now, I don't know what it is that you are caring about these days. I don't know if it's masks and mandates. I mean, that may be a convenient way for you to refuse to look at the actual fascists we have in the Republican Party now, the white supremacists and the fascists, the groups out there right now who are running the show. And I'm looking at the hapless left. There are still some of you defending their free speech rights. Because honestly, you have no idea how the Constitution or the government works. And that's because they removed civics from the school curriculum, and they did that purposely. We used to talk under Bush about dumbing down the population. Well, they've done that, and they've done that handily. I believe that civics should be a required class, so that you actually really do understand the Constitution and the First Amendment, and it does not, absolutely does not require Facebook to give you a venue. It doesn't. It doesn't cover hate speech, violent speech, and threats. But you don't even know that. You're out there standing on your fucking little high horse, claiming that everybody's got the right to speak freely. Medical misinformation isn't free speech. It's misinformation. It is causing a public health hazard in this country. There's a reason why the states that have the lowest vaccination rates also have the highest death rates from COVID, as we approach 1 million deaths in the United States. And had Donald Trump done what he was supposed to do as a leader of a country, instead of reassuring and encouraging the American people to take the steps necessary to get past this pandemic, which is, no matter how you slice this, masks, social distancing, and vaccines. You know, you can say whatever you want. You can get on whatever fucking free speech, high horse, medical freedom bullshit you want to talk about. There is only one way to defeat this pandemic. You may be able to put this out of your mind, but you can't take the facts off the table. So now we have the fact that the American people don't care what happened on January 6, 2021. They tried to overturn a legitimate election. Al Gore lost. In a questionable manner, I might add. And again, what state was it? Florida. You didn't see any of us. I voted for Al Gore. You didn't see any of us running down to the Capitol to, overthrow the government because our candidate didn't win. January 6, 2021, I'd like to remind everybody 5 people lost their lives. Ashley Babbitt was not a hero. I'm sorry she died. It didn't have to be that way. Had she done what she was asked to do, which was cease and desist, she wouldn't be dead today. Nobody killed her unjustly. That was already determined. They beat a cop, senseless, with a pole, and then tased him to the point where he had a heart attack. Are you aware of this, anyone? Oh, it's not your family member, so you really don't give a fuck. You could just not care. Oh, it happened over a year ago. And it's going to happen again, too. As long as there's no accountability, shit keeps happening here. It's the same shit with government. As long as you're not willing to participate. What you accept is what will continue. They are not done. Not by a long shot. We're going to talk about that for a few minutes before I close down this video. But the fact that the January 6th Commission is actually an empowered commission that is doing its job and uncovering a lot of information, tons of information, in fact. Most recently, that the former leader of the Proud Boys had a conversation with Donald Trump. Enrique Tarrio, he's being charged with conspiracy. The head of the Oath Keepers is being charged with sedition, and so are 6 of his minions. The fact that you don't care is stunning to me. So let's talk for a minute. We now have a country where 40% of the Republicans who have bought into the big lie have accepted the fact that there will probably have to be violence, and they're okay with it, to take our country back. To take our country back from the evil left wing, because we're a multicultural society. This is what they want to stop. I guess if you're a white woman, you're probably not worried about that. Oh, but wait, you should be worried about it. Because now not only are they talking about overturning Roe v. Wade, but they're coming after your contraception. And I said that they would. I said that 6 months ago. It will not stop there. Oh, you're gay? You can get married today? Oh, don't count on that. Don't count on that. We have a 6-3 composition in the Supreme Court. If you think they're going to let gay marriage stand, you're out of your fucking mind. I'm suggesting to you that they bring back the pride parades in every city and stop with the capitalist nonsense. Stop with the going on the common afterwards and spending money and buying Olivia cruises. Instead, let's make it political again like it used to be when I was young. When I was young and sneaking out of my house to go to gay pride, we talked politics, we talked civil rights, we talked about protecting our rights, and we talked about uniting. Now what do we have in Boston? We have arguments over whether we're going to let trans people in on it. You got to be fucking kidding me. Do you remember where you were 30 years ago on the food chain? In 2014, when I went to Gay Pride, there was Miss Trans America at Gay Pride. Now, because the GOP has gotten a hold of that, they've brainwashed even gay people. You know what you ought to do, folks? We're all in the same boat here. We're all outside what the white norm is in this country. LGBTQ people are targets just as much as transgender people now. Okay? Get it through your fucking heads. You ought to be uniting and fighting together. You ought to make gay pride about actual real gay pride, which isn't pissing your money out the door over a Macy's float. Let me give you some information here. Rick Scott was in the at the CPAC conference. He was the keynote speaker. He put out his 11-point plan. We have that plan, by the way. Put out his 11-point plan where he's literally talking about eliminating transgender people and gay people. It's time to take our country back. This is not a plan for the timid, he says. He calls for eliminationism. That's what this is all about, eliminationism. And who are we eliminating? Who are their enemies? Just about anybody who wasn't a neoconservative. Gay people, these people. That's essentially what they're saying. So let me read this paragraph to you, and I want you to listen. So he wrote a memorial tribute to author and social activist Bell Hooks. And this is what he wrote. As the U.S. stands on the precipice of undoing its fragile democratic experiment, as we bear witness to massive forms of disinformation, crude and rude political divisiveness, as we witness political cowardice, and as so many kowtow by the profound loss of bell hooks and the ethical and critical standard of courageous speech that her work and praxis exemplified. You see, I am under no illusions. Like Bell, I refuse to be silent. What better way to remember her? This country, one founded upon the enslavement of black people, the brutalization of their bodies, upon the enslavement of black people, I'm going to repeat that, the brutalization of their bodies, and the genocide committed against indigenous people, is moving toward a massive social implosion. And from the spineless and reckless rhetoric and actions carried out at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, it is clear to me that there are many who are so enamored by false gods, idols, and barefaced lies, who have sold their souls to neo-fascism, saturated with lies. That's where we are right here, folks, in America. That's where we are. Americans who don't want to confront this head on and even see it because it's unpleasant. I feel sorry for you, but I feel sorry for the rest of us more. The ones who are willing to fight back. The Trump supporters are now flying. You see them everywhere. I see them on people who come in my store. Baseball hats with the all-black American flag on it, on the back of their shirts. The black American flag was first flown for the Confederacy. It means take no prisoners. It's becoming more and more popular, used in more and more places. The gentleman, as we talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago, who just introduced the little kitty AR-15 gun, his website has a black American flag on it. It means take no prisoners. We will not give in. We are, take a look at me. I'm one of them. We are the enemy, okay? It's pretty much any non-conservative, but specifically Democrats, liberals, LGBTQ, BIPOC, and the vaccinated. This all started with vaccines, but it is vaccines en masse have become an excuse to push this further. You know, they believe that Joe Biden has declared a civil war and then by mandating that employees with over 100 employees and the military have vaccinations. Well, you know what? Donald Trump spent months bragging about his Operation Warp Speed and the amount of money he invested in the vaccine. He even wanted the fucking vaccine named after him. And even after he talked about only people that need to get a vaccine are the old people and the sick people, he managed to get himself and his entire fucking family vaccinated on your fucking tax dollar. They're all vaccinated and he is actually boosted. Joe Biden's declared a civil war by actually trying to protect the public health. This is what people are supposed to fucking do. All across this country, in conservative Republican states, they have rolled back the powers of the governor to take any action to stem the next surge. In fact, in Michigan, the horse's ass named Garrett Soldano, a chiropractor who is also a snake oil salesman and is running for governor, led the charge to roll back Gretchen Whitmer's emergency powers for COVID. And then when they surged in that state and people began dying and they couldn't find any room in hospitals, he accused her of being missing in action. Well, you know what? She's missing in action because you put her out of business. It's time to call this bullshit for what it is. The Civil War started on January 6, 2021. An alarming number of military members have been making TikToks calling people to arms. Okay? They are actively recruiting on TikTok, and then they send them to Telegram to contact them directly. We are making plans here. There are 3 generals, my friends, who have said that the military, before 2024, needs to cleanse the roles of white supremacists and Trump supporters. And anyone who would use the military power to incite violence. They're not supposed to show guns on TikTok. It's against community standards. But they show plenty of videos on TikTok with their guns, cleaning their guns, showing them, wearing them, or just sitting on the bed next to them. TikTok has become a recruiting tool for neo-fascists. And they let everybody out there who might be unhappy on the right side of the fucking spectrum know that they're willing to fight to the death and commit violence. Donald Trump, in a speech just recently, told his followers that they need to, quote, fight to the death to prevent CRT from being taught. You know what? If you don't care about what happened on January 6, 2021, then I'm going to challenge you. You don't care about anything. You can talk all you want on Facebook. You can make all the posts you want. But if you don't care about what happened on January 6, 2021, if you don't care about the fact that they actually breached the Capitol building, were looking to take people prisoner and harm them, then you don't care about anything. In Michigan, there are 12 people now who are on trial for trying to abduct Gretchen Whitmer before her powers were rolled back. They're trying to abduct her for what she did to help mitigate COVID in her state. They were going to abduct her, and they talked about killing her. I'm going to suggest to you, you can think you're safe if you're white, but I've got a world of hurt coming your way. Remember that old saying that went around after the Holocaust? I didn't stand up for this one, and I didn't stand up for that one, and then no one was left to stand up for me? That still holds true. I'm not going to try to say it because I don't have it on the top of my head, but I have used it before. It's pathetic that all of this work has finally been done to expose what really happened on January 6, 2021. And the biggest challenge of this commission is not trying to get these people prosecuted, but to get you fucking people to care. Pathetic. I'll talk to you all later.